What's good, fam? What's going on? Kyle Henderson, Bama Football on YouTube. I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much for joining me on this beautiful Friday morning. It is May 25th. It is 7:40 a.m. and I hope you are off to a good start right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Want to talk Alabama football, some college football headlines with you right here on Bama Football on YouTube. So I appreciate you guys being here. Easy E's from the 205. What's good? What's good? Jeff coming to us from City. Byron, what's up, man? We appreciate you guys being here this morning on Bama Football on YouTube. I wanted to look at the Alabama depth chart. So when you look to the current depth chart, the way that Alabama has it set up, and I'll minimize this box on the bottom side so we can take a closer glance, and I'll go full screen with it. So when you look to Alabama's overall depth chart, as we look to the depth chart as of May 24th, going into the summertime, and I get it. I was looking at this earlier this morning, and at the center position, there's a couple, like Geno Vandermark isn't added, and if there's any other omissions, we can kind of run through them. But when we're looking at the overall depth chart, and I'm full screen right now, I'm behind the scenes. Let's start. I guess we'll just start at the top and we'll work our way down, right? So, and this isn't official. This is put by our lad. So if you ever want to check out like the actual depth charts and how the depth charts operate, or like a decent idea, if you're, I'm sure you guys are subscribed to your recruiting sites who do a really good job doing that sort of stuff, 24/7 Rivals, On3, whatever. But our lads has a really good setup as well. So let's look at it and we'll just kind of work our way down and we can get some feedback. So at the top, you have at the X position, you have Kendrick Law, you have Emmanuel Henderson, Ryan Williams, and I'm just working my way from left to right up top. Rico Scott. Now, you have to notate that the guys that are in orange are the guys that are new additions to Alabama's football team, right? So, and a couple guys aren't even here, like Ryan Williams up top, Rico Scott, those guys are not here. Jeremy Bernard, or I guess orange is indicating that those players are new, right? Because you have Jeremy Bernard up to the top left, who is a new addition as well, and then you have like Parker Brailsford. So that's how it's working. But anyways, if the guys are freshmen, I'll point it out to you. So let's start up top. Kendrick Law, Emmanuel Henderson. By the way, there's some footage and some photos of these guys like working out. They look completely shredded. Emmanuel Henderson, I think, is due for a monster season. And I say that with like, depending on how they're able to utilize Emmanuel Henderson, right? I think if Emmanuel Henderson is utilized correctly, or if he gets opportunities, I mean, he could be a very impactful wide receiver. I just always believed in his abilities. As I mentioned, Ryan Williams and Rico Scott, not here yet on campus. Ryan Williams, you know, I've seen kind of the talk about his overall speed and his playmaking abilities. And I think when you look to a player like Ryan Williams, you have to think about, like, I get it. Is he fast? Yes. Is he like Olympic fast? No. But is he still like lightning fast? Yes. But the biggest thing is he is football fast, right? So like get him the football in situations and he can make you miss. I would even imagine if you put him on special teams that he could be a monster as well. So look for Ryan Williams to be utilized sooner than later, and I know we're all excited to see kind of the first glance at Ryan Williams here with Alabama. Rico Scott, we can't sleep on him. Same thing with Amari Jefferson, who's right underneath him. Jeremy Bernard has been a welcome addition to Alabama's football team, working at the Z position. I mean, I think he got for, 121 yards this past spring game, so very good target for Jalen Milroe. And then you have Caleb Odom, who was a tight end, and we've talked about this plenty, and now he is a wide receiver at the University of Alabama. I think he's the tallest wide receiver on the team at like 6'5", maybe closer to 6'6". Anyways, like, and I've said this plenty, is when I saw him at practice, I felt that he looked like the best wide receiver there. Now I know that's kind of a stretch to say. That's what I saw. Jaron Hamilton and Amari Jefferson, those guys slotted, at least on this particular graphic, at the Z position. The H position, Kobe Prentice. Man, I love Kobe Prentice. I think he is very dynamic, smooth, fast. He's a player who's football fast as well, right? Like, I think he's a player that can beat you over the top. Cole Adams, man, he's really, really good. And then can't forget about Bubba Hampton. Those are kind of like guys we probably haven't spoken enough about, Bubba Hampton and Cole Adams. Can't wait to see what they bring to the table. Now, this is interesting. On this particular graphic right here, I'm going full screen now. You have, and this is ourlads.com, you have Elijah Pritchett at left tackle above Caden Proctor. And that's probably true for right now, because I don't even know if like Caden Proctor is like physically working out with the team. But I think in time, the left tackle will be Caden Proctor. And I don't know all the details with like Elijah Pritchett and like the off the field stuff, but I'm sure, they're working with him and mentoring him to make sure he's back up to speed and, good to go for this coming season. So you have Caden Proctor, I would say at the left tackle position, and guys behind him, Elijah Pritchett and Nyquil Bentrade. Nyquil Bentrade is the prospect who transferred from Texas A&M. You have Tyler Booker at left guard. Now look, the guards for Alabama, I feel, are the best tandem in college football, like player to player, along with Deontay Lawson and Jahad Campbell. So you have Tyler Booker, and then behind him, Casey Poe. You speak to people, Casey Poe is people felt like he could potentially play a lot this year. I don't know how he's going to play because you look at the starting five for Alabama's offensive line. It's going to be hard to get him in, but very, very talented player. William Sanders, also listed in orange. Okay, so now we're at our center position for Alabama. Now you have three centers that left Alabama's program. You have Terrence Ferguson, who left Florida State, Seth McLaughlin, who left to Ohio State, and you had James Brockemeyer leave to TCU. It's hard to keep up with all those guys, right? So you have Parker Brailsford, who came in, and we all know what happened this spring. We didn't get to see him during the springtime, but I would imagine that he's a center. Now, I'm curious to see what happens when Geno Vandermark, who's not listed on this particular page by our lads because he was just committed, last week or something like that, 2 weeks ago, if he's a center, and if that's going to be the position battle for the springtime. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think there will be a position battle? Let me know inside the comment box if you think there will be a position battle at the center position. I don't know. I have no idea. I haven't even seen him snap the football. Jaden Roberts at the guard position. Absolute monster. Olas Alanen from Finland, which is amazing. Joseph Ionita, also listed out there at the tackle position. At the right tackle position, right from Tuscaloosa, Alabama, Welcome Formby, Miles McVay. Those guys are going to be very key contributors when called on. Miles McVay, he's a monster. He's huge. Was he almost 6'7"? Welcome Formby, is he 6'7"? If you live in Tuscaloosa, you've seen probably the commercials of him for Taco Casa. They have Welcome Formby's Monster 4 combo, and they list out all of the stuff that he eats. Big dude. Okay, the tight end position. I talked about the tight ends yesterday. I love the group. I don't think there's a tight end who's going to be a game changer, but I think the tight ends are very capable in the room. So reading off the screen, I'll go full screen again. CJ Dupree, Robbie Oots, Josh Cuevas, and Danny Lewis. You guys know how I feel about Danny Lewis. I think it's just a matter of time until he does his thing. But any of those tight ends, see, the thing about the tight ends, I don't look at it as starters. I look at it as starters for every single formation that Alabama has. So you really have four different type starters. Probably CJ Dupree would probably play the most because he's the most balanced, but I wouldn't sleep on Danny Lewis at all. Quarterback Jalen Miller, we talked about him yesterday. Ty Simpson, I feel they're both elite type quarterbacks. Dylan Lonergan, probably not even too far behind those guys. And then Austin Mack, the young freshman. I felt with Austin Mack, there was some times where I thought he was really good, and there are some times where I thought there needed to be some improvement. But maybe that's just kind of the first evaluations of him out the gate. What is it? Someone say he's 17 years old. I don't even know if he's 18. Running backs are crazy. You guys probably saw the photo of Richard Young on social media. Guy is so jacked. That running back room is amazing. Any of those guys could be the guy. Daniel Hill, I even saw a photo of him on Instagram. All of these guys putting in so much work. It was just, I feel one of the biggest storylines from A-Day was the power from Richard Young, how he was able to, yards after first contact. Man, he's so good, so talented. And you guys called it inside the comment box again and again. Don't sleep on Richard Young. Don't sleep on Richard Young. Here he is. All right, here's a look at the defense. And a lot of times when we talk about the defense, and we'll talk about the name similar how we did with the offense, but we talk about defensive expectations and what are the defensive expectations going to be for this team. I feel that the defensive expectations should still be high. They should still be elite. Defense should be still the forefront of this university, of this brand. And I get it. We're in a world of grass basketball. But with that said, I feel that Alabama's defense will still be very good. Jamarian Latham, very talented. This could be like his final big breakout year. LT Overton, haven't really heard too much on him. Keon Keeley, that was one of the bigger storylines during spring, was that he is, moving to the defensive line. It's crazy to think he's only a redshirt freshman. Jordan Renard, he's a name we probably don't talk about enough as well. I love the tackles. Tim Keenan, huge fan of him. Damon Payne, huge fan of him. James Smith, all those guys, literally all those guys are so talented. But I think Tim Keenan, I've always had a lot of respect for his game and his craft and how he's worked on his body to be able to get to this level, to be able to play at this level. Q Robinson, I feel that when I look at Q Robinson, he could be one of the best players that on the defense. I really feel that way. I think it's just a matter of time, like something clicks, and I get it. There's some really talented guys behind him. Keanu Coate, who's very talented as well. He'll be probably, I would think those two guys both play. I know they're listed as the Wolf, so that's interesting to see here. Quay Russo, my goodness. Yonze Pierre, oh my goodness. Those guys are so good, man. Okay, and the inside linebackers. So you have Jahad Campbell and Deontay Lawson. Best combo on the defensive side, I think, in college football. Behind them, Justin Jefferson and Jeremiah Alexander. And when we think of like Khalil Jacobs, and as you saw, he went to Missouri, where was he going to play on this team? I think they wanted him, but he would have clearly been a reserve. I mean, even the guys like Sterling Dixon, Justin Okoronkwo, Caden Jones. I mean, there's a lot of depth and young depth and guys just really who haven't had their time. But Justin Jefferson, I know there's a lot of you who love Justin Jefferson. Let's see. Xavier Brown at the corner position. So here's another thing is you don't have Deshaun Jones listed from Wake, right? I don't think it has a lot of the transfers that have been added. Is it Cam Howard and help me out? There's one more. So as you can see, there's just such youth within the secondary, right? Right cornerback even coming in is Damani Jackson, who, you could be critical of his game last year. I think he's already has better coaching here at Alabama. Keon Sabb, baller. Malachi Moore, baller. Smitty. You also have another Smitty. And then all those freshmen. Jalen Ibakwe, Jake Kirkpatrick, Dave Mincy, Ed Morgan. Amazing. Special teams, incredible group. James Burnip returned. This doesn't have Graham Nicholson. That needs to be updated. Neelan Hibbett, I think he's a legacy of Hibbett Sports. James Burnip, he will be the holder. That's what H means. He's also the team's punter. I would think he's the best punter in college football. You have the best punter in college football returning and the best kicker in special team in all of college football returning as well. That's amazing. All right. Look at Alabama's football schedule real quick. What's going on? I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much for joining me on Bama Football on YouTube. All right. I like to go to let's see. All right, here's our schedule. Kind of just doing like a rehash of everything right now. All right, let's see if I can get this up on the screen. All right. Sorry, I do all of this by myself. All the. All right. There we go. I think it's a challenging schedule. We were looking at Texas' schedule yesterday, and we looked at Ole Miss's schedule yesterday. No, we looked at Texas. Who else did we look at yesterday? Oh, Florida State. Yeah, those are the schedule we looked at yesterday. We have Western Kentucky here at 6 p.m. These times are Eastern, clearly. Alabama, probably, I don't know. I forget what they're opened as the favorite, but I would imagine that they win by 14, 21, 28 points. I think Jalen Milroe probably has 6 touchdowns in that game. That's why I'm saying, if you want value for the Heisman Trophy, get on Jalen Milroe right now. This game against UCF, I still have PTSD from that game last year when everything went down with South Florida. That game sucked. That game was ugly. I was put Jalen Milroe in and let's get the hell out of here. So Bama out the gates. Those are first 2 games for Coach Kalen DeBoer. And it'd be dope is the first game for Alabama is at home under the lights for Coach Kalen DeBoer. How about that? Okay, you have Alabama on the road against Wisconsin. That's a tough game. Wisconsin is Wisconsin. People were saying that I said Wes. It's Wis. No, I appreciate you, Wisconsin fans. I don't know where they're going to fall in the Big 10 or the Big 16 or whatever it's called now, but I would imagine it's not in the top 5. I don't even know if it'll be in the top 8. Maybe probably the top 8. But I look at their program as kind of like a balanced type team with a really good defense, and they've always kind of came with it. So who knows how good Wisconsin's going to be, but I think on the road, wow, that game's on Fox too. I'll tell you what, that game will have a great atmosphere to it because this will be Wisconsin's Super Bowl game, and they'll be amped up. And they have a really good coach, Luke Fickell. Man, he's a great coach. Can't forget about him. Then you're open after that game, kind of heal up, after your first real battle from the first quarter of the season, and then you take on Georgia. I get it. Georgia's a 4.5 point favorite over Alabama. I take that all day. I think that Alabama, when you hear me talk about the schedule, you hear me talk about it in 2 folds. Whatever happens in that game is going to be good for Alabama. Because if they lose to Georgia, okay, you get punched in the face, you get back up, return to work, and you get ready for Vanderbilt. And you go and, beat Vanderbilt 100-0. And Coach Kalen DeBoer will get thrown under the bus, and people will be like, it's time to fire him, and blah, blah. Right? You can't beat Kirby Smart. Just hang on. Because that game will also be like an early gut check time. And I think it'll provide the first type of adversity for Alabama. We know this. And it'll be interesting to see how they respond to adversity. How do people respond to adversity? How do people, go about, do they run and hide? Do they, will the team fold? Will the team turn on each other? Will the team start reading rat poison? Will the team start reading other headlines, other sites about how the program is on the demise? Or will they keep it in the locker room and gut check time and just get back to work? That's it. Next play mentality, right? Next play mentality is so important in life. That's what Coach Saban, I know you guys don't want to hear it, but about Caleb Downs, he said that Caleb Downs has a next play mentality. That's why he's good. Okay, messed up, next play mentality. Move on, right? But if they win that game against Georgia, watch out. It is going to provide so much momentum for Alabama. I don't know if they will be beaten the rest of the season. I'm serious. Because what will happen is they will have so much reverse rat poison going into that, really even to the season right now, but into that game, all the stuff will be, Georgia, all the pressure is on Georgia. Kalen DeBoer is beating Steve Sarkisian twice, beating Dan Lanning twice, beating Lincoln Riley twice. Never lost to those guys. Pretty damn good coaches. Kirby Smart, different animal. Georgia, different animal. Still, they won the last 30 or 31 games. So if they win that game against Georgia, then they get so much momentum from that game that they go right into Tennessee against Vanderbilt, and they become a buzzsaw. And they beat Vanderbilt. They beat South Carolina. They go up to Neyland, and that will probably be a game where you have Alabama ranked, I don't know, maybe number 1 or number 2 at this point in the season against Tennessee, we'll look at Tennessee's schedule. I don't even know who they play. but I would imagine they're going to be a pretty good team again. So let's say that Tennessee at this point in time is a top 15 team. That'll provide a hell of a matchup. Third weekend in October, that will be Coach Kalen DeBoer's first road game in the SEC. You can't prepare for it. I'm not from here, right? I'm from New Mexico. Been here for 8 years now. And the first time that I went to any of these outside SEC stadiums, it's crazy. It's like a whole different place. It's like a different country. I can't explain it. Like you're used to it because you're from here, but like it's wild. Neyland Stadium, wild. They play that Rocky Top song every single time. You buy nachos, they play the song. You play a hot dog. You like every single time. It's the Rocky Top. Never stops. They drive you crazy. The band is cool though, how it comes into the stadium. I like that. And I like the Vol Navy, how it's there. Knoxville's cool. I like Knoxville. But that'll be a really challenging game for sure. You win that game, you gain even more momentum. And then I don't know where these guys will be at this point in time. Missouri? But we can't sleep on Eli Drinkwitz. Same thing with like Luke Fickell. Like those are good coaches. This schedule is hard. But I'm just telling you, if they beat Georgia early on, they will gain so much momentum that they will take it well into the season. Then I don't know what their record will be. Let's just say they're undefeated. Then you have a week. Then shit gets real, right? Open week, okay. Don't read any of the headlines. Don't read where we're at. Nothing, because they're about to go on this back 4-game stretch that is crazy. This is very hard. I get it. You see Mercer in there, and if you're an outside fan, you're like, oh, I'm not, no, I'm not saying to be worried. I mean, be worried about everybody, but look at these 3 games. 2 Baton Rouge, 2 Oklahoma, Brian Kelly, Brett Venables, Boogeyman Hugh Freeze on the back end. Yikes. You better have everything in order, and you better pray that you're healthy going into this backstretch, or that you remain healthy on this backstretch. Whoever wins the SEC this year, credit to you. I think you'll be one of the best college football teams that there ever was. If there's a team, let me ask you this. Inside the comment box, do you think there will be a team this year that goes undefeated in college football? I don't. If there is, what will they be, like 17-0? Nobody's going. I say like nobody, and then Alabama runs the table. Can you imagine? Just think about this schedule. We've just talked about it for 10 minutes. If Alabama goes undefeated on the schedule, could you imagine? People be freaking out. It's a hard schedule. And then after this, look at this. Okay, look at this. All right. You want some exciting college football? I clicked on Mercer's schedule. Look at this. This is as exciting as it gets. At LSU, Mercer, the rat poison game, right? At Oklahoma, Auburn. Okay, remember last year? Didn't matter. 4th and 31. And then after that, the SEC championship. What if it's Georgia again? That would mean you have Brian Kelly, Brett Venables, Hugh Freeze, and Kirby Smart within a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 week period. Welcome to the NFL. Welcome to the NFL. This is like elite football. That's why when I talk about the quarterbacks, it's great to have 2 quarterbacks that are elite. It's great to have 3, 4 running backs that are elite. That's what it's going to take to be able to get through a schedule like this. Crazy. All right, I want to go I haven't looked at Tennessee's schedule yet. FBS schedules. That's why I like how things look. That's why I like On3. That's why I like FBS schedules. All right, here we go. This is Tennessee. I haven't seen Tennessee's schedule yet. I was just curious to see what they would be when they played Alabama. All right, so Chattanooga, August 31st. NC State is their second game. Okay. Kent State, okay. 3-0 at this point. Ooh. At Oklahoma. You win this game, you get a lot of same thing. Man, what a weekend that's going to be. Okay. Then you're open. Can't slip up against Arkansas. Play Florida. That's a rivalry game, right? So I don't know where Tennessee. Let's see. Tennessee would be 1, 2, 3. That's gonna be a tough game on the road for them. 3-1, 4-1. I could see them being 4-2, or I could see them being 5-1. They'll lose a game. Let me ask you this: do you think that Tennessee will lose a game from Chattanooga through Florida? They might not. Look, they might not lose a game. If they beat Oklahoma, they might not lose. I mean, could we have a third weekend of October where it's a number 1 versus a number 5 or number 4? Maybe. I don't know. Okay, so after that, they have an open week. Then they take on Kentucky, Mississippi State. Ooh, travel to Athens, UTEP, and Vandy. Okay, so all in all, let's see. Best case scenario, they're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, it could very well be 10-2. Same thing with Alabama. Alabama could be that's why I haven't even looked at it, like the tiebreaker for the SEC, what it's going to be. I'm not sure. Because if you have multiple teams that have the same record, conference record, how is that going to work, right? I'm not sure. Let's look at Oklahoma's schedule. I'm sorry, if you guys follow me, you guys know I love schedules. All right, give me 1 second. All right, let's see. This is Oklahoma's schedule under Brent Venables. Okay. You have Temple. You have Houston. Okay, so they're 2-0. You beat Tulane. Tulane was what? They were, I guess, moderate last year or the year before. Then you take on Tennessee, the game we just talked about. Then you go to Auburn. I like that game. That'll be fun to watch. Brent Venables versus Hugh Freeze. Then you have Texas Longhorns. Wow, yeah. When we talked about Texas schedule yesterday, it's kind of like a coin flip type game, right? Then you have South Carolina. Ooh, at Ole Miss. Wow, Brett Venables versus Lane Kiffin. Then you go to Missouri. Dang, this is a hard schedule. Oklahoma has a hard schedule. Yeah, look, Tennessee, Auburn, at Auburn, Texas, rivalry game, at Ole Miss, at Missouri, Bama. Look at these. Look at this. Look at this back end right here. Missouri, look, Eli Drinkwitz, Kalen DeBoer, Brian Kelly. Man, that's hard. That's a really hard schedule. And I didn't know Oklahoma's schedule was like that. All right, hold on, we'll do a couple more. Now I'm like, well, what's Missouri's look like? Murray State, Buffalo, okay. Former spot of Mo Lindquist, that's cool. How about this? You have Missouri, Eli Drinkwitz versus Bill O'Brien. Bill O'Brien's at, man, wouldn't it have been fun to see Bill O'Brien at Ohio State, right? as the OC. That would have been one of my things to watch like each Saturday. Then they take on Vandy. This is Missouri's schedule. At Texas A&M, UMass, Auburn, Bama. Now it's a tough schedule too. Oh, look at this stretch right here. Wow, and you go. That's weird. Missouri goes to UMass. That's weird. You go to UMass, and then you have. So look at this stretch right here. This formatted on the screen for Missouri is ultra challenging. Look, you have 1, 2, 3, 4 away games within a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 within a 7-week stretch. Okay, UMass, that's going to be that's it's tough to travel for the game like that. You win that game, come back, you prep for your homecoming game against Auburn. It's never really a distraction homecoming at this level, but then you play Alabama the second week, then you're open to get ready for Oklahoma, right? Game is at home, and then you go back to back on the road. South Carolina, Mississippi. Look, I'm telling you, this year in college football, all of the schedules are challenging, ultra challenging, but not as challenging. The last one I'll do one more time is Florida's. Let's see if I can. Oh, this is the most challenging schedule in college football on the back end. Look at this. Look. I've never seen a schedule like this. I can't wait till Billy Napier answers questions in SEC Media Day about this back end. This is crazy. Georgia, Texas, LSU, Ole Miss, Florida State. Kirby Smart, Steve Sarkisian, Brian Kelly, Lane Kiffin, Mike Norvell. I don't think they win any of those games. And then before that, you have Miami. I don't know if they beat Miami or not. Texas A&M, probably a toss-up game. So at this point, best case, they're what, 2-1? Sorry, that workout this morning was crazy. I'm up to 700 calories burned. It was crazy. We worked out with these huge sandbags. It's tough. Mississippi State, UCF. Look. Wow. This is even hard for Florida right here. Okay. This back end is crazy. Okay. Crazy. But this little stretch is hard too. Look. New football coach at Texas A&M. New football coach here at Mississippi State. But on the road. Stark Vegas is crazy. Gus Malzahn. Remember? And who's our quarterback? KJ Jefferson? That's challenging. You go to Tennessee and then you play Kentucky. Kentucky will punch you. Florida's schedule is so hard. It's crazy. That's the hardest schedule I've ever seen in college football. Ever. That's wild. I don't know how many games they'll win. Let's see. They'll beat Samford. They'll beat Kentucky, I guess. Maybe Texas A&M. They're going to win like 4 games at best. That's crazy. How many games do you think, looking at this schedule, how many games do you think Florida will win? Wow, that's crazy. I don't know how many games they'll win. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you guys being here this morning right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Kyle Henderson. Appreciate you guys' support. And, I always value you guys being inside the comment box and giving me feedback. So thank you very much. So as I said, kind of as I navigate to my next topic, which will be I wanted to go one more time back to the depth chart. Is when I look one more time, and if you're into depth charts like me, then just go to our lads and you can just bring up the entire board. It has all of this, and I'm sure I think every site does their own depth chart board, and they're probably updated because they need to be updated. But I think the strongest position group, and I've said this before, is the running back room, the quarterback room. I think inside backers, guards, wide receivers. You know what? The most talent, the most capable might be the special teams. The punter and the kicker, as I said earlier in the show. It's wild. Wild. On the recruiting front, I wanted to bring up something really quick. And I had a video yesterday where I talk about the recruiting aspect under Coach Kalen DeBoer. And everyone has been asking, and rightfully so, where are the 5 stars? So I want to talk about 2 different points. Let's see if I can find that photo. Because I think when you look to prospects, that Alabama wants to bring in and Alabama wants to add and Alabama has kind of on their hot board, the 5 stars are coming. And I know that Derek Meadows, as I look at him right now, he's a 4-star on 3. But I think he's closer to being a 5-star. So my point is, and we talked about this yesterday, is kind of the recruiting aspect of Coach Kalen DeBoer and how he's able to, like, I think it was Jeff inside the comment box brought up the fact that he feels that Alabama, it might not have been Jeff, I forget who it is, that Coach Kalen DeBoer is only going to the West Coast to recruit. Sometimes it seems like that. It hasn't seemed like that to me, because I look at kind of the overall recruits that he's been able to bring in so far. They've been from everywhere. It's been amazing. I mean, he's really gone cross country and he's recruited the South very well. So when you look to another prospect that is coming into town this summer, let me get to him, Anthony Jones. Let me see if I can get his profile up. Okay, so I know 2026, but man, 6'4", 230 pounds, and mad respect to all of the talent in LA. That's lower Alabama, right? Monsters come out there. Deontay Lawson, he's out of there, right? So was Julio Jones out of LA. Ryan Williams out of LA. People were like, how can Coach Kalen DeBoer recruit in the Southeast? Well, he's doing just fine. He's absolutely crushing it. And he's already been doing really well in 4 phases of recruiting. Really 5. Winning over your roster, he did that. Class of 2024, he did that. 2025, doing his best efforts there. 2026, he had 2 commitments this past weekend, or this last weekend. And then in the transfer portal, you look at the guys that he brought in, amazing. He's been doing a really good job. So overall, just really impressed with Coach Kalen DeBoer and his staff. It's the honeymoon period because, recruiting at Alabama, in my opinion, the brand still speaks for itself. This is still the place that can get you to the next level. Coach Kalen DeBoer is a good person. And, but, as we looked at the schedule, there's going to be some adversity. There always is. There's always adversity in your life. So what are you going to do when you face adversity, right? Stop, or are you going to push through? I think this team will push through. There's too many, teammates. There's too many winners and leaders on this team. And I think they're going to do much better than people anticipate. I appreciate you guys joining me for this segment this morning right here on Bama Football on YouTube as live news happens. Stay tuned with us right here on Bama Football on YouTube, coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube on this beautiful Friday. Enjoy yourself, and I will be back on the next show right here, Bama Football on YouTube.